CNT120, Chapter 3 Lab. We are moving on to the network layer part of our lab, our IPv4 addressing. Remember, this is the layer that things like routers are using to get data to the correct network. And each of our devices will have its own unique IP address. Whether it be a computer, printer, IP phone, server, router port, they'll have their own unique IP address. So let's start over here at the Harrisburg PC. We want to see what it has for an IP address. So I'm going to open the Harrisburg PC. I'm going to open the command prompt here. And I'm going to do an IP config on this guy and see what it has. As I take a look now, I see, I see a 169.254. Hopefully remember from our reading, that is an APIPA address that gets self-assigned. So let's go look at the network settings that are set on this guy. Actually, we'll do that next. Let's check the Harrisburg laptop. See what kind of situation it is in. Let's do a command prompt here, ipconfig. And we're seeing a 169 here as well. That's the APIPA assignment when it tries to get a DHCP server and it can't for some reason. So let's now go look at the IP settings that Harrisburg PC has. And let's go here to IP configuration, and we'll notice it's set for DHCP. Okay, well, let's cycle it real quick and see if we do pick up an IP address. It's trying, and it's not getting one. Well, what we find out if we keep digging around, there is actually no DHCP server on this side of the network. The router's not configured for it, and there is no DHCP server like this side has. So, okay, we're going to set a static IP over here for this PC and for the laptop that's over here. So I'll do static, and I notice these open up, and I'm going to fill this information in. I'm going to fill in 192.168. 10.10, making sure I don't have extra spaces, characters, dots, etc. As I click in the subnet mask line, it fills in the default Class C subnet mask, which is what I want. That's good. Gateway 192.168.10.1. That is actually the address of this router right here. It needs that so it can get out of this network and across that WAN link over to the Philadelphia site. DNS server 192.168.30.2. That is actually the address of the DNS server that's over here. So we're going to point to that DNS server over there to get name resolution. We're going to close this. We're going to go back to the desktop, open command prompt, and do another IP config. And I should now see the address I just filled in. If by chance you see numbers here that aren't right or typos that are not right, double check here. Just retrace your steps, go back to IP configuration, and correct it. Make sure these numbers are correct or you're most likely going to have connection issues for the rest of the lab. So if need be, revisit it, double check it, go back here, command prompt it, IP config, and make sure. Now that we have that, let's do the laptop real quick. We're going to do the laptop along the same lines. We're going to go IP config, static, 192.168. We need 10.11. We don't want any conflicts. We can't repeat the same number that the Harrisburg PC used or we'll have a conflict. So there's our subnet mask, 192.168.10.1. That's our gateway. 192.168.30.2 is the DNS server over at the Philadelphia side. Make sure all that is correct. I'm going to close that. I'm going to go command prompt, ipconfig. And I'm looking here to make sure that information is correct as well. Again, if I see something that does not look right, retrace your steps, go back and fix it. It's much easier to do it now. All right, now that both of those have a static IP, we should be able to have connectivity from the Harrisburg side of the network over to the Philadelphia side of the network. So from my Harrisburg PC, let's try to ping the web server 30.4. We're going to try to ping the web server over here, which is, get back there, 30.4 right there. So from the Harrisburg PC, I'm going to open up command prompt, and if I've done everything right, I'm going to do ping 192.168.30.4 and try to get the web server. Now, do not panic if the first ping or two times out. It has to find its way the whole way through the network to that. If one or two times out right off the bat, that's fine. I'm looking for a couple successfuls after that. If I were to repeat this, and I'm going to hit the up arrow to bring my command back and hit the enter key, I should see this time around 4 successfuls, now that it knows its path. That's what I should be seeing. If I see timeouts or destination unreachables, check your command, look for typos, check your IP settings again, go here and check your IP settings, and then come back and repeat the process. All right. Now that that's working, now that I have a complete connection, that lets me know that my IP addressing is correct, my routers understand it, and they're able to route the traffic over to the web server and then send a reply back to me. And that's what I'm getting here. I'm getting a reply back. I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to do copy. And while I'm here, I'm going to save this into my text file. I'm going to save this into my text file. So I'm going to put a note in here that this is my layer 3 portion, and this is my Harrisburg PC to Philly, actually no, the web server, web server ping. That's what I got going on here. So I'll put that in, and that little label is to help me remember what that is. Otherwise this stuff will start blurring together. I'm going to do the same thing on the laptop. So I'm going to go over here to the laptop. Come over here, here's my laptop, and I'm going to open the command prompt. I'm going to try ping to 192.168.30.4, and I should see some successfuls. If I do not, again, double check, make sure I don't have a typo here in the command. If I still don't get a successful, I get timeouts, etc., go back and check your IP config, make sure it's correct, double check it, then come back and repeat this process again. Once I do get successfuls, I'm going to highlight this guy as well. And I'm going to copy that one, and I'm going to go back to my text file, and I'll put a note here that this is my Harrisburg laptop to web server ping. Oh my goodness, web server ping. Something like that. That way I know what this is. Alright, and this was all of this was the static IP setting. And this is really static IP version 4 address. And it is down here as well, static IP version 4 address. These are just simply reminders for me of what I got. Alright, so I now have some static IP addresses in my network. Let's go over to the Philadelphia side and see what we got going on over there. So Philadelphia PC, let's open up command prompt ipconfig. So here's my Philadelphia PC, command prompt ipconfig. Oops. IPconfig. That's a reminder of like, hey, watch your command. I see an IP address over here. Okay, cool. Okay, all right, good. Let's look at the IP configuration of this guy to see what we have. Actually, I'll do the laptop real quick too. Let's do IP config on this guy as well. IP config. And I see I have an IP address over here as well. Okay, good. So we have IP addresses, but I don't know the nature of them. So let's go to the Philadelphia PC again and look at the IP configuration. So let's go here, IP configuration. Oh, we see it's a static. Okay. Well, let's try dynamic over here. Let's try dynamic address over here and see what happens. And it's trying. Ooh, it has failed. And I see an APIPA address being assigned. Let's try the laptop just in case the laptop's any different. It's static. Let's try DHCP here and see what happens. And it's trying, and it failed, so it's self-assigned to 169.254. Okay, so this is letting us know we're having connection issues to the DHCP server. Well, this is where troubleshooting will begin, and just for the sake of time and the sake that we're still learning, what is really going on is the actual DHCP service over here is not running. So I'm going to go over here to the DHCP server. I'm going to highlight this guy. I'm going to go to the Services tab, and I'm going to go here to the DHCP, and you'll notice the service is off. It's configured, but it's off. So I'm going to leave this configuration alone. I'm not going to change anything, but I'm going to turn that service on. And you'll notice it's actually going to start handing addresses out in the 30.175. It's going to start handing addresses out at 30.175. So the numbers should go up from there. I'm going to close that server out, and I'm going to back on the, here's where we just turned the service on. We'll go back to the Philadelphia PC, and let's try an IPconfig all and see if we get anything now. So I'm going to open command prompt here. I'm going to do IPconfig/all and see what we get. Well, it still has the 169.254. So I'm going to do a release, and then I'm going to turn around and do a renew. That's some of the commands you read about late in the chapter. That's going to request an address from the DHCP server, and it should fill one in, 3176. Yes! Okay, so we now have a dynamic address from the DHCP server on this PC. Let's try the laptop real quick. Command prompt IPconfig. Let's see if it has one yet. It does not, so let's do a release on this guy. And then we're going to turn around and do a renew. And it should pull in a dynamic IP, which it does. There's a 177. Now, do not panic if your PC gets a 175 and laptop gets 176, or vice versa, or one of them gets 177, the other gets 178. It's dynamic. It's okay. As long as they're in like the 175, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80 ballpark, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. It is dynamically assigned, so there is no guarantee of what you're going to get. They should be starting at 75, 76, 77, and going up. All right, now that both of these have the dynamic address, let's now look at that and save that to our text file. Save that to our text file. So I'm going to go back to my Philadelphia PC, and let's open a command prompt, and I'm going to hit the enter key a couple times just so I have a clear space there. I'll do IPconfig/all, and I want to make sure I have all of this here, because this now shows the IP address, the gateway, the DHCP server. It shows me all that information, mainly that I'm getting this dynamically from the DHCP server. So I'm going to highlight all that, and I'll do right-click copy. I'll go to my text file over here, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to say, I'm put a note here that this is my dynamic IPv4 address, and this is my Philadelphia PC, and I'll paste that in, and then I'm going to do the same thing from the laptop. So I'll go over here to the laptop. IPconfig/all, and I'm just going to highlight, I just want to highlight the Ethernet part. That's the part I'm concerned with right there. I'm not worried about the Bluetooth. I'll copy this, and I'm going to paste this into my text file here. So I'll remind myself this is dynamic IPv4 address, and this is my Philadelphia laptop, and I'll paste that in. So now we have static, we pinged, but we had static from the Harrisburg PC, Harrisburg laptop. Now we have dynamic IP on the Philadelphia PC and dynamic IP on the Philadelphia laptop. That's what we have so far. All right. So before I go anywhere, let's try some connectivity from the PC to the web server and the laptop to the web server and make sure they are actually communicating in the network. So back to a command prompt, we're going to ping 30.4 is the web server, and I have successful. Yes, so we know all of the layer 3 addressing is working on that PC. And let's try the laptop. Ping 192.168.30.4, and we have connectivity there as well. So we know all the layer 3 addressing is working on that laptop as well. Okay, we'll come back in the next section and start looking at some of this traffic that gets generated.